Alright guys, here is your video for parent graph transformations. Like we said in class, it's kind of a weird lesson because we're not necessarily calculating anything. We're just kind of describing how things change. Most of the time we'll be using either y equals x or y equals absolute value of x. And they're going to give us another equation, and we basically tell them how it's different. So when they give us a y equals x problem, you got to think of it as y equals mx plus b. So it would look something like this: y equals 1x plus 0, mx plus b. Because they're either going to ask you about the change in slope here or the change in y-intercept. And if they ask you about the change in y-intercept, they could also say which way the graph shifts. Because if you change your intercept, it could go up and down. So this is what the EOI questions are going to look like. What happens to the y-intercept of y equals x when the function changes to y equals x plus 4? Remember, we're looking at this 1x plus 0, so it changes from 0 to positive 4. So the y-intercept changes from 0 to positive 4. If this one was plus 4 and this said like 2x plus 4 or whatever, with plus 4 the same, they'd be the same. Y-intercept does not change. The y-intercept becomes equal to the x-intercept. That's, I don't even know. That's just there to fill in a spot. If this was minus 4, then it would go from 0 to negative 4. Could ask you about both. What happens to the slope in y-intercept of y equals x when it turns to 2x minus 6? mx plus b, so it changes from 1 to 2, so the slope changes to 2, so b and d are out. And then the y-intercept becomes minus 6. So minus 6 and 2, so our answer would be C. And like I said, if they say how does the graph shift, this one, the graph would shift down 6 units. And it would also change in slope, but we'll get to that. Absolute value. As long as you remember insides left and right and backwards, outsides up and down, and a negative in front could reflect it, you'll be fine. Because what they're going to do is they're going to say what happens to the graph of y equals absolute value of x when it changes to, and it'll give you a possibility. It could shift both ways. It could be negative, could be positive. So let's see. What happens to the graph of y equals absolute value of x when it changes to absolute value of x, and on the outside plus 4. Insides left and right and backwards, outsides up and down, so up 4 units. Graph shifts up 4 units, so our answer would be A. From absolute value of x to absolute value of x minus 2, insides left and right, minus means right, so we're going to the right 2 units. That one's C. Here's an example of kind of what you'll see. This is from a practice test, but it's basically from x to x plus 3. They'll give you a fancy graph, and that really doesn't have a whole lot to do with it. They just want to know how it changes. If you look at our answers, it'll either be down, left, right, or up. Insides left and right, so it's not inside, can't stop B and C. Outsides up and down, so we just got to look. Plus 3 means up, so the graph shifts 3 units up. That's basically it. That's all really they're going to ask. If there's a negative here in front, it would say it will say if there's negative in front, graph is down and reflected. On the assignments and stuff, you should probably put and reflected. If you put the graph as flipped, that kind of works too. But reflected is the word you'll see. That's pretty much it for parent graphs. There's no book assignment for this, so it's tough to assign anything. We have a worksheet, so if you were missing this day, come get a worksheet from us.